Good afternoon, my friends. This is the Grim Flayer. Hope you're doing very well today. And it's another BGX Modern League, it's another Donation League, and it's another Jund League, more specifically. But there is no Kroxa, there is no Klothys, there is no Seasoned Pyromancer, there is no Lurrus of the Dream Den. This is old school Jund, and it is brought to us by a wonderful fellow, a Confidant tier Patreon supporter, Frank Armaton, who earned this donation league. Thank you so much, Frank. Frank's a lovely guy. He is back to his best health-wise after some issues that left him with a much lower quality of life for some time, but Frank is back at it. We love to hear that. We're very, very pleased and happy for him. And we are grateful to be playing such a fun list on his behalf, so thanks again, Frank. And let's talk a little bit about his list. He is just somebody who really loves old-school mid-range, and to that end, all of the aforementioned newfangled cards are excluded in favor of, a lot of the traditional Jund staples and other cards that used to perhaps be Jund staples and are now a little bit more maybe board material. Let's take a look at those. We have 2 copies of Dark Confidant and 2 copies of Scavenging Ooze. It has been a while since I played a list with 2 of both of these in the deck. Usually there's simply not room. And right now Dark Confidant is being benched by a lot of people simply because, to some extent, the card advantage he gives you can be replicated by Wrenn and Six and also by cards like Seasoned Pyromancer if you play that. And as an X1 and somebody whose card advantage is invariably painful, he can be a liability against the red deck wins archetypes. It's currently kind of the top archetype in the meta, or at least one of them. Nevertheless, Dark Confidant, when unanswered, is one of the most powerful tools a black-based mid-range deck can leverage, really in any format. And going turn 2 Bob against Prowess might feel kind of bad, but going turn 2 Bob against Tron or against a blue deck actually still feels just about as good as it's ever been, and Scavenging Ooze is maybe the weakest card in a vacuum overall in our 75, and maybe it's not as cleanly leveraged in Jund as it is in Rock, but it's still very powerful, very well-positioned card. And, beyond that, we have a lot of the normal stuff. We are using some newer cards like 3 Wrenn and Six and 2 Cling to Dust, 1 in the main, 1 in the side. But overall, the feel is extremely old school, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun to play. Other notables are a 3-3 Inquisition Thoughtseize split, so on the whole, our main deck is, not that hedged against red deck wins, but we'll see what happens. We do have a lot of tools on the side for those matchups, right? And also in the main deck, a copy of Tireless Tracker. Tireless Tracker, Frank says, is his favorite card. And we are also playing 9 total fetch lands. Talk about not being hedged against red deck wins, right? But we're playing 9 total fetch lands in order to better synergize with Tracker and with Wrenn. And fetch lands are just really good, right? So, erring on the side of that, I think is great. I think this is a really well-designed list. The main deck is actually, I believe, completely untouched. It's totally Frank's, and I think where my input came in was a bit in the sideboard. As I have been lately, I have been encouraging people to include more life gain into their lists or other ways to compete effectively with the red deck wins archetypes and the aggro archetypes more broadly. So let's take a look at that. We've got a little bit of everything. It's a nice spread of 2 Spellbomb, 2 Ashiok, 2 Pillage, 2 Plague Engineer. And then we have a lot of one-ofs rounding things out. Collective Brutality, Cling to Dust, Boil, Huntmaster of the Fells, Kitchen Finks, Weather the Storm, and Engineered Explosives. So, lots and lots of different life gain cards in the sideboard, all of which kind of have different roles. For example, Kitchen Finks could come in a mid-range mirror, as well as the red deck wins. Weather the Storm could come in against Storm, as well as red deck wins. Cling to Dust against Dexies in the graveyard, also red deck wins. Huntmaster against small creature decks or mid-range mirrors, also against red deck wins. Collective Brutality against control or some combo decks or collected company decks, also red deck wins. So you get the idea. And I think this is actually arguably the best way to build a sideboard right now, is to have a extreme critical mass of red deck wins hate cards, but maybe only 0 to 1 that are so narrow that they virtually only come in there, right? So beyond that, a lot of the stuff needs no introduction. Let's just play a league. Let's just get into our league. On behalf of Mr. Frank Armaton, thanks once again, my friend. Thank you to all Patreon supporters. As always, I love and appreciate you guys, and thank you to the viewers as well. Let's find an opponent. Hope everybody out there is doing well. I have been extremely busy lately, but I've also had windows in which to play full leagues. Sometimes my extreme busyness means when I do play, it's like maybe I start playing with the expectation of not being able to finish a full league, right? And therefore, if I have a league that I end up wanting to show you, it comes later in replay form. Lately, I've been really busy, and if I dedicate like my only free block of time in the day to a league, I can do a full league, and that's what we've been doing lately. So, lots of live recorded content, and I know a lot of you have mentioned lately that you've missed that, and you appreciate seeing it. So, thanks for that great feedback, and here's another one for you. If the opponent clicks join match here, we will be in the trenches shortly. We have won the die roll. The hand looks perfect until you realize there's no fetch land and no black. Therefore, we are not casting Liliana, which if we could depend on Goyf, Bolt, and Wrenn all being really good would be probably fine for now. But Wrenn is also doing nothing besides ticking up toward ultimate or perhaps pinging. So I think this is borderline. Nevertheless, this is actually, like, despite the things I just said, it's actually kind of a strong hand in a blind game one. I think I'm probably supposed to keep it, but it's kind of amusing how unlikely it is to open on this configuration of lands relative to our hand. But we'll see. We'll see what we can make of it, right? I think I'm just going to get the Ravine down. You know, if they play a small creature, it'd be really nice to bolt it, then play Goyf and get our clock going, right? But it might be more value positive to ping an X1 with Wrenn anyway. So, because that play might be able to go either way, even if they play a small creature, I think we just get the Ravine down. Well, almost every land remaining in our deck is going to make black. I guess Basic Forest is like the only exception. Okay, opponent playing an Elvish Reclaimer off of Snow-Covered Forest. Interesting. How interesting, and we draw our fetch anyway, so. Does not appear that we need to bolt this thing post-haste, so would we rather get Wrenn down and start ticking up? Or get our Tarmogoyf down? We're going to go for the Wrenn because they mulliganed, and giving ourselves the option to have, like, perfect efficiency with the Wrenn Liliana attrition combo is probably too good to pass up. All of that said, next turn it's possible that we're either playing Lily ticking down or we're simply bolting with Goyf. Alright, they play Sakura Tribe Elder. So the presence of that makes the Lily Edict kind of interesting. But I think it's going to be Goyf and Bolt, right? Because Lily Edict could be a good way to take care of, like, Dryad of the Elysian Grove. Draw of Basic Forest is pretty bad there. Just going to main phase the Bolt before this activated ability is online from Reclaimer. And the attrition game is on. As soon as the opponent sacks Elder, we'll have a land in the graveyard, even if we plan to continue looping ours with Wrenn. So we've set ourselves up here to go turn 4 Liliana, turn 5 attack with Ravine. So we'll have disrupted a fair amount, but Ether Vial, okay. Definitely not what I was expecting to see. I'm unfamiliar with the opponent's deck. I thought it was going to be some kind of a Titan field deck, but this is definitely looking a little bit different, right? I think we are just going to Edict that Reclaimer. If they have a Titan in hand, we could tick up. Maybe they'd pitch like, maybe they have Land Titan. Maybe they have the perfect last 2 cards, right? And that would be something. However, I think, since I'm unsure, I'm just going to answer stuff on the board. And of course, the Reclaimer, if left alone, could be a big problem in a couple different ways, right? Alright, so we hope their last 2 cards, or maybe their top card as well, does not include Land and Titan. They have Eladamri's Call. See, I do not know what's going on. Castle Garenbrig and like the Sakura Tribe Elders has still got Titan on my radar, and sure enough, they have it. So I guess we're about to get Titan. They wouldn't get that if they didn't have the land rolled up, right? So, having drawn only lands here, I don't think we really had too many other options than, dealing with their board in the way we did. If we had drawn spot removal, maybe we could have just ruthlessly ticked Liliana up and prevented this, but then we'd be like against the big mana deck, maybe playing defense with a Tarmogoyf against their board and letting them have Elvish Reclaimer activations and trying to ult our Planeswalkers. I don't know how realistic that is either. There's Field of the Dead. Alright, let's draw removal for Titan, please. Oh my god. Literal only lands. All lands all the time. It's not a good way to start a league. We don't have any other basics to fetch, so if we want to loop something with Wrenn, which I don't think I'm going to bother, we're just going to tick up. Yeah. Again, not much you can really do under these circumstances. We are technically representing a trade with Titan by holding back with Goyf and the Ravine. But Liliana's Edict is going to be sadly bad once they attack with Titan. Get a bunch of zombies with Field of the Dead. So maybe our best bet will be, in fact, to, I don't know, try to alt Wrenn, potentially? Who knows? I'm really struggling to make sense out of their Ether Vial here. Alright, let's see what utility they have to get here. Just more fields. So this really does seem like a Titan field deck. It's just kind of playing Aether Vial. Okay, hoping for no Path to Exile is the last card, right? And they choose to block a Raging Ravine even though we can just buy it back? Or they choose to assign damage to Raging Ravine, rather? Oh boy, I don't know. I don't know about any of this. We're just going to almost certainly lose to Field of the Dead anyway, but I think that was kind of bad, to be honest. As always, I could be... Thoughtseize off the top. Wouldn't you know it? As always, I could be missing something, my friends, but I don't really know that I am in that case. I'll tell you what we're missing is some relevant draw steps. I'm going to take Lily up here. We're going to try to just, like, again, play defense with the Goyf. Alt to Planeswalker. Keep Planeswalkers alive in general. But against triple Field of the Dead, they don't have bricks anymore. They also are representing more ETBs here with this Windswept Heath and this Ghost Quarter. Yeah. Yeah, zombie time, you got it. Opponent's Aether Vial. Will they take it up to 3 or leave it at 2? What do you do with a card like that in a deck like this? Okay, I'm finding a list. There's actually a Reed Duke article on this. It's called Modern Eladamri's Toolbox. Alright, let's figure out how to block first. They've got 3 going at Lily, 3 going at Wrenn. Well, we can't save Lily, even if we block one of them, so let's block one going at Wrenn. I think we have, like, draws that in theory can overwhelm them. They've got to get really good really quick, though. Oh, they just ripped another Titan for a turn? Wow. Wow, welcome to my world, guys. Who else do you know that this kind of stuff happens to, right? Only here. Only here can you find this type of gameplay. So, let's see. Rita's calling it a mid-range brew, using the best cards from their favorite color combination. Or, sorry, that's a general statement. It's pretty special when somebody completely breaks the mold and shows up with something nobody's ever dreamed of before. This deck not only earned a double take, but I spent the next 10 minutes trying to envision how a typical game might play out. It requires some imagination. So I'm seeing Dryad, Courser of Krufix, Eternal Witness, a Fierce Empath, 2 Golos, a Knight, only 2 Primeval Titan, but also only 2 Field of the Dead, and we see that they're playing 3 here. So obviously the list we're against is a little bit different. Okay, Kolaghan's Command. Well, the rip of the Titan off the top, I'm afraid, killed my desire. So, on to the next one. Yeah, I'm seeing Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, Tireless Tracker, Ramanop Excavator, a whole lot of one-ofs, but in this list read links, only 2 Eladamri's call to tutor them. Some utility lands as well, but really not that many. It's kind of like got a ton of basics at the Field of the Dead package, a couple Valakuts. Out of the side, they have Veil of Summer, Path to Exile, Thragtusk that could all come in against us. Maybe stuff like Night of Autumn or Force of Vigor if they're suspicious for artifacts of some kind. Celestial Purge, okay. probably siding mostly like a big mana deck, but I don't know how good Ashiok is against a lot of their mid-rangey stuff, but I guess it's actually still pretty great. Huntmaster is more intriguing because they are on more of a mid-range plan. I don't know if I'm going to play Boil. They're giving us a lot more to worry about than, like, Dryad, the window for a Boil with Dryad. I'll definitely play Pillages either way. We need to make sure that we're killing the small stuff that's worth killing. So if this list is anything to go by, that could include Night Before It Gets Big, Elvish Reclaimer, Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, maybe Tireless Tracker played on curve. These are some incentives for a Brutality. Brutality also takes Eladamri's Call. That said, I still don't know if it's going to be correct to play it. Some of these cards, like Huntmaster, Brutality, are pretty embarrassing against like a normal Primeval Titan plan. So, a bit of a balancing act, but why don't we try to play these 6? I might leave Boil on the bench until we definitely see Dryad. Again, their list is clearly going to vary. Wren's medium here. Still might even be able to cut 2. Cutting a Skooz in general seems fine. They're more disruptible by Skooz, though, with that more mid-rangey plan. I think we're supposed to leave in all of our bolts and pushes. I'm going to trim a Cling. I'm going to trim my own tracker. Not going to try to compete so much with them on that axis. Let's get a Skooz out of there and play one of these 3. As odd as it looks, I think I'm actually going to play Huntmaster on the play. Thoughtseize, Terminate, Liliana. 'Tis a keep. Nice to be on the play here. We don't need to worry about Veil of Summer blowing out our turn 1 discard, and we can go really heavy on the Liliana plan when we lead off with a Thoughtseize and we've got her on curve on the play. Yeah, okay, so Thalia, Reclaimer. Not going to take Path. Maybe you could just take Tribe Elder, because we've got 2 kill spells in hand, right? But then Thalia throws us off curve. Maybe that's not the worst thing in the world. Yeah, I think I'm going to take away their ramp here. We do have, after all, plenty of draws that can kill a Thalia. Fatal Push. That is one of them. Alright, so the only real question is what land is best. We don't have Croaks in the deck. We do still have 1 Skooz, so like getting basic Forest is fine. But that doesn't let us cast Terminate, so scratch that. We'll plan to probably fetch Mountain here. Yeah, there's no way they don't play Thalia here, right? Indeed. Okay. So we're going to go Mountain, Terminate, untap, and that way if we draw another discard spell, we can push Thalia and cast it. From here on out, for Fear of Veil, I'm just going to main phase. And we've drawn another Fatal Push. So if they don't present a pushable target here, it may be correct to leave this uncracked because they're going to play a fair amount of 3-drops, it seems. That'd be a good way to take care of those. But let's just see what they do. Ramanop Excavator. Thankfully, we have not been on a land destruction plan. I think getting a second tomb here is fine. Alright, so just like killing everything that moves profitably. It's a really strange place to be in. Against a deck playing Valakut, Primeval Titan, etc. But that's what's going down. So it's a Liliana time. We'll pick one of the dead lands we've drawn and play the other one out. OP will picture Vesuvo. We know their hand. It's Path to Exile, Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle. Very strange brew indeed that our opponent seems to have picked up on and made some tweaks to. So I think our position's honestly great. Okay, they've drawn Castle Garenbrig. A little scary. Making some potential top decks a lot better. We draw Goyf. It is awkwardly timed, but it's still going to be the play. We'll play the Goyf, we'll take up, they'll path it, but then we get a land out of their hand anyway. We get to go get a land of our own. Much better than losing the Goyf to our own +1. Just going to take a quick look at what all is in our deck. I think I'm supposed to get Forest here in case we draw our one of Skoos. Alright, OP empty-handed with only 4 lands on the field, but Castle Garenbrig making it a virtual 5, meaning 1 more land, which they immediately draw. Now Titan is live off the top, so time to draw Pillage. Pillage, please. Inquisition. I'll tell you with these top decks. Anyway, we've got Lily alt, so one turn. Fade Titan, fade Veil of Summer. Flagstones of Trocaire. That could make Liliana a little awkward, right? Dark Confidant, huh? Okay, so if we put flagstones in a pile, they're going to sacrifice the flagstones pile, keep the other one, and then get a free plane, so they'll be on 4 lands. So what if we put Flagstones, Temple Garden, Castle Garenbrig all together? Then they just go get some kind of plains and they're on 2, let's say they have another Temple Garden to get, they're on 2 Forest Plains Temple Garden. Is that worth doing, or should we take the risk of keeping Lily around? Tick her up 1 more turn, then alt, then we get to, then any alt is good. It's tough. If it was normal Titan, I would ult. Here, they have a lot of their top decks are not that scary this turn, but at the same time, a lot of their top decks can play and, operate off 3-4 mana, right? With our draw of Bob, that's a pretty nice one. I'm gonna get a little greedy, I guess, and tick up. I don't even know if it's fair to call it greedy, though. It might just be correct. We're gonna feel pretty dumb if they rip Titan, but they're not gonna rip Titan. They never have ripped Titan in their life. They rip Blast Zone. See, told you. They're making a lot of land drops, though, in the face of our Lily. That's obviously very good. All right, Bobby, what's it gonna be? Pillage Kolaghan's Command. A pair of pretty nice cards. So, yeah, time to ult. So, I don't think I care about Blast Zone at all, honestly. Almost not at all. Flagstones makes this so strange, though. If we do that, they sack this pile, they keep this pile, so let's actually put Castle in the pile we want them to sack. I think this is pretty good. Remember, we're pillaging something from the surviving pile anyway. At this point, I think one of the bigger risks is us just, is our Bob hits just being impossibly painful while we don't put together as much of a clock, right? Alright, let's see what they get off flagstones before we decide what to pillage. They do have another Temple Garden. See, I thought they might. So even though I don't really care about the Blast Zone, I think that's still the correct one to hit here. Okay, pretty heavy depletion and disruption from our side here. Let's hope it is good enough. K-Command in hand could be really good. Right now, there's no obvious great use case, but could be really good. Bloodbraid Elf, Wrenn and Six, Liliana. Okay. Alright, so one option that I'm considering here is play a Wrenn, pick a land back up, take Lily up, put the land down, then draw step, shock them, discard them. That way we are not losing any resources out of our hand, even though we have kind of a medium use case of Kolaghan's command. And then next turn we get to keep taking Wrenn up, play the Bloodbraid Elf, take Lily up without maybe losing anything. And we can also have Wrenn down to ping Bob if we need to. So I kind of like that line. Alright, really hoping they're not going to draw an instant of some kind to blow this play out here, but I think it's the right one. OP tanking. They had Celestial Purge, obviously they drew an instant, but they get rid of our Bob, which honestly I think is pretty okay. Alright, we draw another Lily. Let's go Bloodbraid Elf mode. Into another Bob, sure. I think it's correct to just pick up a land here and put it back down with Lily and keep the backup Lily in hand in case we need to Edict next turn. Not really doing the math on like the clock and whether we should be pinging with Wrenn quite yet, because a lot of things can happen with their deck. You know, in terms of them drawing this mid-rangey type threat or interaction pool from which they're potentially top decking. Alright, opponent top decks a land, so they're on 5 lands. Dark Confidant flips a Nurturing Peatland, and we draw Pillage. Okay, very good. So there's not really a bad line here as far as I can tell. We'll ditch a land, we'll buy it back with the Wrenn, we'll play it. We'll keep our backup Lily, we will pillage Temple Garden, and we will put OP to 6, meaning we are still presenting lethal with a Wrenn ping next turn. We got a lot going our way, including the potential of the Peatland loop, but we're not going to need it. Okay, Radiant Fountain for OP, sure. I'm going to crack Peatland here. So no lethal for us. Unless we rip Bolt or whatever for turn. Bloodbraid Elf, stuff like this. Huntmaster of the Fells, Abrupt Decay. Just going to get rid of this Inquisition. And let's crack Peatland looking for lethal. And if we don't find it, we'll probably just play Huntmaster. Okay, Tarmogoyf, sure, but I'm just going to jam Huntmaster of the Fells because it's cool. Because it goes wide and because it doesn't really matter what we do there. This Liliana's about to be on the threshold of her second ult of the game, which is pretty crazy. OP goes Ether Vial. Concede, okay. I like it. Alrighty. That one went really well. Being on the play with that rip your hand to shreds hand and all the right removal at the right time felt pretty good. Now, I don't think we saw anything that we didn't kind of scout out during game one by looking up that read Duke list. So with that in mind, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's on the bench that's kind of playable, like a second Wrenn, a Tracker, even a Scooze could be fine, a Plague Engineer could be fine. They do play some X1s. Maybe a Huntmaster we don't need on the basis of that. Collective Brutality playable too. We don't need Huntmaster, so we've got at least one card to bring in. Heck, even playing Spellbomb is not that bad, just because Ramanop Excavator could be so painful for us. But that's probably only a one-of. Yeah, I don't see a clear front runner here. So I'm going to play a second Wrenn and Six. It's been pretty good in both games, just as kind of a value piece that we can find ways to leverage. Ideally alongside Liliana and or like really profitably killing X1s, but there are other use cases as well. This is a very strange list, I'm not going to lie. Well, we've got another discard into Lily hand with no threat. I think, once again, this has got to be a keep. It's a little scarier on the draw, that's for sure. They go turn 1 Reclaimer, keeping 7. Another Inquisition is our draw. Okay, hope these are going to be really good. Okay, 3-lander, Thalia, Dryad, Tracker. Probably just kind of have to take Thalia here because she's taxing us the most. Then again, they don't have white yet, so is that even correct? We're going to get punished if they draw white for not taking Thalia, but we'll still be able to Inquisition next turn anyway, so I guess let's just take some heavy hitters out of the hand. We'll get Dryad first. We'll get Tracker probably next turn, and then hopefully Thalia's stranded in hand for quite some time. Or we just draw a kill spell for... They copy our Blackcleave Cliffs, that's pretty amusing. A kill spell for Reclaimer. Alright, Bolt or push off the top. Oh, another Inquisition. I guess we take that too, right? The Inquisition, the Grimquisition. Okay, Eternal Witness, Tireless Tracker. I'm just going to take both of those away. Trying to decide if there was any reason we needed to fetch shock there. Okay, the Grimquisition has arrived. You love, my friends, to see it. Alright, so we're going to get to Edict this Reclaimer and then go to work on their hand. We've drawn Ashiok, seems really good. No Veil of Summer. No Veil of Summer. Lovely. Okay, so they make a land drop. It's white. It's actually a problem, because now if Bloodbraid Elf cascades into a non-creature spell, we will be taxed out of it. So... Oh, they play it tapped, though? What the heck? What? Why? I don't understand. I don't understand at all. I also don't know what to do with this +1. I guess it's because they have a better card in hand, which is probably Primeval Titan, and they're probably just resigned to using Thalia to protect it from the Lily +1. So with that in mind, we're going to take up. We're going to pitch Bolts in the assumption that they're going to pitch their Thalia. And then we're going to run out our 4th land, so we can play Bloodbraid next turn. But this turn it's going to be Ashiok. And I think we're supposed to mill them one time. Well, you know, right now, actually, maybe not. Yeah, no, we are. They play Eternal Witnesses, so even though there's no lands in there for Ramanop Excavator or whatever, still think it's correct. Bajuka Bog. Alright, the graveyards are empty. You got it. Alright, land off the top would be cool for us. It's a Wrenn and Six. Well, I guess we're pitching it. I think I'd rather just get their hand empty and play Bloodbraid Elf here. Especially if they're sitting on a reactive card like Path or something. Primeval Titan was in hand. Wow. Close call. Very close call. Into Cascade into Fatal Push. Bit of a fail. I'm going to leave Ashiok here. I think 4 loyalty is a pretty safe number. Okay, they draw Valakut, sure. Verdant Catacombs. Be really nice to have an active Wrenn too. If we had drawn that fetch land and the Wrenn in the opposite order, we would be in all kinds of business right now. They're going to purge the Lily. Main phase purge might not be correct, because if we draw like a reactive card, we'd +1 and they could purge in response, right? But still really good for the OP. Let's top deck something awesome. Tarmogoyf, good enough for me. Alright, if we can keep the Ashiok around, I think Tarmogoyf is poised to batter through most threats they could draw. They just draw basic forest, seems really good. Alrighty, another Bloodbraid Elf could get us to lethal here. Instead it is a land. I'm going to hold that in hand. And put them to 4. Concession. Alright, well, opponent seems to have flooded there. I mean, hey, they've got to be playing a lot of lands to leverage a Titan package and so forth, and when you play a lot of lands and kind of a low-curve, mid-rangey package, the flood, I guess, is really, really punishing. Good games, well played. Interesting list. See you for round 2. Yeah, so that was an interesting one. Somebody will have to fill me in on, like, what Ether Vial is there for. Obviously, I know what the card does, and generally, if you're playing, like, creatures at 1, 2, 3 CMC, you can, in theory, use Ether Vial, right? But are they really, like, double spelling or using a ton of, like, utility lands in the early turns? I don't know. I don't know if I get that deck, but, yeah, somebody will have to explain it to me, I suppose. Anyway, off to a good start. Opponent says good luck, have fun. We will return the sentiment, and we will keep a totally fine blind game 1 hand that does hope they play to the board with Bolt into Decay into K-Commander Liliana. Well, I guess we're going to kind of get our wish with a Street Wraith into Polluted Delta, but maybe not in the way we'd like, because Lightning Bolt, not very good against this deck, especially when they know it's in hand. So yeah, turn 1 Thoughtseize, we are against most likely Grixis Shadow. Liliana's the best card in our hand, but on the draw it's possible they have a variety of ways to justify leaving her. Kolaghan's command is a different problem for them. They might just take Abrupt Decay if they're on a quick Shadow plan. And on the off chance they have no removal, I guess Dark Confidant is a possibility here as well. But yeah, Lily, Occam's Razor applies. I guess the most powerful card goes down. However, opponent then plays a Bauble. You would maybe expect Bauble first to see our top deck for more info, but we've drawn Inquisition, and that's actually a reason not to have Baubled, right? Because then we'd get one more card to look at. So, little micro decision that Shadow is notorious for. It can go either way. Gurmag Angler is their threat. They have Push, K-Command, Stubby D. It's a one-lander, but they're top-decking and they're cantripping. Yeah, and often you'll want to take Stubborn Denial here, but right now, technically, we don't really have anything that we care that much if it gets stubbed, so I'm almost tempted to take Fatal Push and try to ride Dark Confidant to victory. It's risky because they play a ton of other removal. They can just draw 3 lands, or 2 lands, and have K-Command and kill him profitably. No matter what we do, we're going to fuel Angler. I'm going to take Fatal Push. I feel that our hand's not lining up against their hand, so I'm going to play for the higher upside. Taking Push is also interesting in that it allows us to top deck like subsequent threats beyond Bob that could get us there, such as good old Tarmogoyf, right? Alright, so they didn't miss the land even for a turn. If they'd missed the land for a turn, I'd be feeling one way. Now I'm feeling the other way. It's a fetch land So they get to kind of have it all. And again, this would be the big reason to have taken Stubborn Denial away if we had something to kill Angler. But we don't, so our Bob versus your Angler, who would win? We're going to find out. Ooh, Thoughtseize after the fact, huh? I still think we are supposed to play Bob. Fetching's tricky here. Before we drew this Thoughtseize, we had kind of free reign to get Basic Forest, but now in case we want to Thoughtseize Bolt the same turn, that might not be good. So I think I'm shocking in here. Grixis Shadow, definitely a very cool deck. One that I seem to play just a ton against when I'm on Jund lately. This is a matchup I really prefer to see when I'm on Rock. Bob flips painlessly, love to see it. Blackcleave Cliffs. Okay, so pretty much got a Thoughtseize here, I think. Let's just begin with that, see what happens. Yeah, we needed that third land to operate with impunity over what remains of the game, which looks like it's going to be a short game. And we want Bob to be painless here. Okay, Stubby D. All right, that could signal our relatively imminent demise. If they're aggressively stubbing here, they're risking getting trophied. And, of course, we don't have that, but the risk is real. Although I guess if that was our plan, we could just take their stub anyway, right? But my point here is that OP might be on good old Teamer Battle Rage, and there wouldn't be too much we could do about it. So, I'm going to play Wrenn, and I wonder if we should try to put lethal together. Let's assume we don't die. Let's also assume we draw a painless land next turn. Like we flip Mountain off of Bob or something. If we ping them to 7, then Bob for 2 puts them to 5. Wrenn ping to 4. Bolt to 1. Kolaghan command to -1. So I guess we don't need to ping this turn. We can always ping next turn and still get lethal. And guarantee our land drop. So I guess we should probably do that. But it's worth thinking about. Oh, Cling to Dust is going to beat our Wrenn activation. Dang. Okay. That definitely sucks, but that would also have blown out our attempts to squeeze lethal over the line, right? I should clarify that we don't have, when I said we don't have that with Trophy, not just don't have it in the hand, we don't have it in the 75. But what we do have is Terminate and Maelstrom Pulse as ways to kill Angler. Okay. Indeed, it is the stub. Or the TBR. So we go to 2. Maybe Bob will kill us. If not, yeah, maybe we can kill them. Come on, Bobby. Basic Swamp! Basic Swamp! Okay. Discard you, shock you. That's 6. Ping you to 5. attack you to 3, bolt you to 0. And they did know about that lightning bolt, right? I believe that was still in our hand from the first turn Thoughtseize. On such margins are these games decided. Very tight. Stealing a game one like that off of a progression that our hand was kind of representing the wrong half of the deck against is a real feel-good moment. So, let's hope we can carry that over into a match win. I think Cling to Dust is good here. Huntmaster Finks. We have a lot of stuff that's like above average. We don't have any like major slam dunk cards. I think with our configuration we're not really even supposed to consider stuff like Pillage and Boil, but those cards could see play too. Nihil Spellbomb's my favorite card in this matchup. Engineered Explosives is not unreasonable either, depending, I guess, on your overall configuration. Let's figure out what to cut. So over here I've got like a column of cuttables, including one land. Definitely going to play all of these cards. Definitely can cut all of these cards. I think on the draw I am going to cut a land here. I haven't been doing that as much lately in my leagues, but lately I've gotten back in the habit. It is statistically sound on a 23 land deck. That puts us at 60. Bobs are pretty bad, though, on the draw especially, but it was good there. So do we run it as is, or do we want to bring, like, EE and Ashiok into the mix? Why don't I try an EE over a Bob on the draw? Ashiok kinda bad on the draw. I think I can run it like this and feel quite good. Alright, let's do it. I don't remember if I finished this thought, but I do like this matchup a lot more on Rock than I do on Jund. Ew, one-lander. Thoughtseize is great and all, but the curve is too high, we have to mull. Always really sucks to mull in this matchup. This is a fine 6, and we're just going to bottom one of the K commands, I guess. Keep a really balanced 6 that I just wish was a 7, and see how far it gets us, right? But if opponent goes turn 1 discard, it's going to be a little tricky. Perhaps to plan on really leveraging these cards. We might need some help. Might need some help from the top deck, right? They take our Inquisition. So yeah, as I was saying, I do like the matchup a lot better on Rock than I do on Jund, but that was an example of Jund stealing a game in a way that Rock really can't. We don't have that reach, and that was definitely cool. That's not to say that a Rock hand couldn't have got there some other way, right? But the point is that even when Red is not at its best, it can still just sneak you over the line. OP going to town over there. So many game actions early on for this deck. I guess it's another turn 2 Angler with Stubborn Denial backup. Well, we beat it the first time, but that's really the nightmare for Jund. I'm gonna get Blood Crypt there and Hopefully not have to operate too much off the peatland, and yeah, there's another land, sure. Let's show them the one we know about. Just kind of have to play a Goyf here. Don't expect it to live. And I also don't expect our Liliana to resolve, but if one of those two things goes our way, we are possibly in it with a good shot. And hey, at least they didn't have push right there. So, you know, if they've got a maybe... Okay, they begin with Island and Thought Scour. Goyf is getting big. Goyf is a 4/5. If Thought Scour had hit a Bauble there instead of a Snapcaster Mage or a Street Wraith, then they could not even attack. OP hesitating, and then it's just a Fatal Push. Okay, so they do have the push. They're still holding up Stub. Or at least bluffing it. We're going to have no choice but to call the bluff, though, almost certainly. Thoughtseize, well, it's not mana efficient, but that actually does give us a way to justify not going for it. I think there's still a huge incentive to just go for it, because let's say we do Thoughtseize them, we take away a Stubby D, they could still have Temur Battle Rage, and then we're like, at 1, we can't crack the fetch land or use the peatland, we can't even cast our Lily. But TBR might be out against us. And since nothing else in our hand and relatively few things in our deck actually beat the Angler, I guess we do kind of have to Thoughtseize here. Clear the way for Lily, hope that's going to be good enough. Triple Stubborn Denial? Okay. Yeah, GG, I guess. Where's my Surgical Extraction, right? That's just insane. Turn 2, Angler on the play, and Thoughtseize. Alright, we're dead. We're wicked dead. Turn 2, Angler on the play. Fatal Push to cleanly answer the Goyf. And then triple Stubby D. Wow. Alright then. Okay. I think we have to put the land back in, or we should put the land back in on the play. And, you know, once again, Angler is looking like the card to beat, so do we want to... I guess we can just, like, not play EE is probably fine. You know, we are only on 2 Fatal Push, though, so that's the thing. You know, we don't want to be too cold to a Shadow either. Ashiok is definitely relevant on the play. Probably inclined to replace a 3 or 4 drop with Ashiok if I'm going to cut anything. Is it weird to like want to cut a Bloodbraid Elf for Ashiok? It's probably a little weird, but I don't think it's unreasonable either. I think I like 2 as the number of Wrenn and Six here. This edge case decision is really interesting. You know what? I'm actually not going to play Ashiok at all. We're going to stay threat dense, which is what old school Jund is supposed to do. We do have 2 Spellbombs and 2 Klings, and 2 Skoozes, all to compete over their graveyard, right? Thoughtseize into Goyf, into Kolaghan's Command, into Bloodbraid Elf. Looking like a Jund hand to me. It is once again just without a way to kill an angler, but Thoughtseize can take it. Let's see if they have one. Let's see if that's the play, if they do have one. They keep 7. They have Shadow this time. TBR is still in the deck. Thought Scour, Thoughtseize. Probably just supposed to take Thoughtseize here. How very interesting. Well, that's all some good stuff to know about. Turn 1 land pass, we have Scooze. You know, I think I like Scooze better than Goyf here, because it's unclear whether we're supposed to attack them or not. Probably not, right? Like, really aggressively, so... yeah, I think it's Scooze time, and... if they don't have an answer for it, it's going to be a really good disruptor on the curve on the play. We'll be able to, like, hold up 2 activations or hold up K command. Here comes Thought Scour. Milling Angler Thought Scour. Mishra's Bauble, okay. So there's 2 unknowns in OP's hand. So we need Overgrown Tomb off the Catacombs, assuming we don't draw a 4th land. And if they don't do anything here, I think I'm just gonna, first things first, fetch. And then probably cast no spells. Maybe we attack, maybe we don't, I'm not sure. Alright, they're gonna pass and then bauble us, so they will know about our Thoughtseize that we've drawn. Okay, well, Thoughtseize is a spell I'm gonna cast. So, let's get our black green land. Let's Thoughtseize off of our black-red land and figure out what to do. Double TBR? Okay, and then snap, Shadow. Yeah, so pretty easy take of Shadow. And then, like, do we even care that much about snap Thoughtseize? I would say not that much. So there is an argument for simply... well, I guess we should still hold up 1 activation, right? Because they're going to get in... if they draw an angler, they can cast it even if we eat 2 things. So why don't we attack before damage will eat their threat? One of their threats. And then we'll pass, holding up Scooze. Yeah, classic example of how TBR can be very bad against a disruptive deck, but it can also be very good, you know? Maybe if they feel that they're a little bit unfavored here. Okay, they're seeing a lot of new cards with Bauble resolving, Bauble's trigger resolving, then Street Wraith. Yeah, so maybe if they feel they're a little unfavored, they want to go for the free win potential. I'm not certain. Fatal pushing the Ooze main phase. Okay, so... feels bad. Their hand is 1 unknown, snap, TBR, TBR. So... I kind of think I'm just supposed to eat the Shadow there. Take away future K-command targets. Gaining a life is fine too. Cling to Dust. Alright, cool. That's a good draw. I'm going to play Goyf and then Cling when they go to snap push it. Or at least we'll try to do all that, right? I was thinking about some kind of a K command line, but it wouldn't be like a great time for one anyway. They might have a bad fourth card like a land in hand to pitch, even if they don't. Pretty free pitch of a TBR, right? So like K command to buy back Scooze. That part's fine, the other half would be whatever. Okay, so they play a land, but they don't shock it in. So now there's no soft stub available if they go snap push. Alright, I'm not going to use my Cling here. I'm just going to go to my turn and attack with Goyf. Alright, let's hope they don't have a Cling of their own, right? We just would miss out on the card draw. We kind of want it right now because we have uncastables in hand. Ooh, we draw Terminate, which is kind of cool, but basic forest not allowing us to cast it. So, yeah, a pretty inefficient turn mono-wise. We're very far ahead in terms of, like, card quality, board presence, stuff like this. And then they've got Dismember. Alright. Nothing we can do about this, sadly. But at least their hand is just 2 TBRs. And their only board presence is Snap, and they're at 6. And our hand is filled with sheer gasoline. Probably shouldn't have sixed there, even though I am, just in case TBR matters, right? Oh boy, Wrenn and Six? Sure. Either use case seems really good. Of ping Snapcaster, or just buy back a land and start making land drops. I think in this case I'm going to buy back a land. I don't want them to have like a Kolaghan's command in hand and they buy back their own snap. I think because we're now making land drops, holding up Terminate, this is really good. I think we can ignore Snappy for the moment. Always ping him next turn, right? Fighting over this is probably fine. It's a 2-for-1 if we win. If we don't, then it's a 2-for-2, I guess. Yeah, cool. Good enough for me. So now even if they have a follow-up, we've got Lily to Edict it, and they don't. So, think I'm cool just going Bloodbraid Elf here. Inquisition, why not? TBR, Island Marshflats is the hand. Seems pretty beatable to me. What about you? Let's ping because this puts them dead to K command next turn, even if they like draw a shadow to wall off our attack. Not that we couldn't Edict it anyway, but you understand the point. Okay, opponent not playing anything, but also not conceding. Well, let's go for the kill. All right. Fair enough. Okay, so we get there in some tight ones against Shadow. Feels great. And we are against F. Pavlush, if that's how you say his name. Very famous top-tier player. Opponent will mulligan. We've got only Bloodbraid Elves. I guess we mulligan too. I don't know what this player is likely to be on. This hand is a very bad keep if they're on, like, Amulet Titan, which is part of what I think Pavlush is famous for, right? But better than going to 5, we're going to keep it and hope the Fatal Pushes line up. So with that in mind, I guess we're just going to bottom Bloodbraid Elf. I think we have enough X for 1 potential to justify this keep. Okay, maybe we're against that same deck. Maybe we're against the same exact deck that we faced in round 1. In this case, our Fatal Pushes will be pretty good. I'm going to play Blackcleave Cliffs there because it's quite possible that we're supposed to slow roll our Verdant Catacombs for a little while, you know, with the notion in mind of using it for Revolt. All right, we've drawn a threat. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Well, we'll certainly deploy a fetch land. I don't think I'm supposed to K-command this Vial aggressively. I think I want to save it for a really good use case. Like, they've done actual nothing so far. And not vialing anything in there, huh? Maybe in response to this we can K-command it. That's probably fine. Blast Zone goes down. Alright. Looks like they're just kind of marching up to hard casting a Titan, to me. I could definitely be wrong. Round 1, as you saw, was my first time playing against this deck. Ramanop Excavator. Alright, that will get pushed, pulsed, something. Okay, opponent's been slow rolling something. Okay, Inquisition, huh? Well, now seems like the time to cast it. We can keep our Pulse in the back pocket this way. Wish this was a Thoughtseize. Okay, we get the Tracker. We push the whole board. We get to chow down with the Oozy. And we send the Ooze in, and opponent is on 4 lands with a Golos in hand. And they draw Field of the Dead. That's annoying. Alright, only 2 creatures to eat. Draw a field. Pretty rough. Right? Draw of our fetch land, pretty rough here. But hey, not really complaining. You know, our Fatal Pushes ended up being good. We drew a turn 2 threat with a no threat keep. All in all, that's probably about all we can ask for. Alright, so they're going to get a land here. Now let's see if they drew a land for a turn. Because if so, they'll make a zombie. If not, I guess we're probably supposed to pulse. Dang, they drew Bajuka Bug. Okay, so zombies are online. Oh no, I hate Field of the Dead. With a passion. With a passion, we hate Field of the Dead. Alright, fetching to thin. See what we can draw. Dark Confidant, that actually seems pretty decent. That actually seems pretty decent. We kind of have to pulse Golos if we're going to attack this turn. Otherwise, I think they probably go for the double block. We can't lose the Ooze. So it's weird to have to use our pulse against a looming Field of the Dead army. But that's all we got, right? Opponent's got to take this block here, otherwise they're put themselves in bolt range, and while we don't have bolt this turn pretty clearly, they don't want to go to 3. OP ripping lands, and lands that make a lot of zombies. Flagstones and Windswept Heath. Pretty rough in that regard. Alright, Bob, show us some good stuff here. Lily of the Veil. Alright, so they can make 2 zombies right now, if I'm not mistaken. And only 2? So the Ooze attack is safe, the Bob attack not so much. I think we're supposed to keep Bob around, right? Yeah, like I said at the time, that Field of the Dead draw was really good for them. I guess we play this land because we have double spell potential with Dark Confidant around. That's pretty serious. Okay, Thalia, so let's eat Golos, and let's also eat Blast Zone in case they have another Ramanop Excavator in the deck. Wrenn and Six, Kolaghan's Command. Nice. Concession. Woohoo! Alright. Guys, Dark Confidant and Scavenging Ooze looking awesome in old school Jund, what can I say? They line up well against this deck, it seems. I trimmed a Scooze in round 1. I'm increasingly skeptical of that. You know, it might not even be strictly necessary to play Pillage, but it's still probably correct. They still need to make their land drops in a serious way. They're still a Titan deck. It can still hit either Vial if that matters, so I will, but you know, I'm still probably playing both Ashioks, right? I'm still not going to play Boil. We're not going like full anti-Titan sideboarding, but this is really, really interesting stuff. You see, our problem having done this is that we just don't have many cuts. Like, I think I'm going to cut Tracker again. I don't want to play that game in the same way that they do. I guess no Huntmaster, and then one more remaining cut. And this is where I trimmed the Scooze last time, and maybe that's still good. Like, Scooze was unusually good there. I guess trimming a Scooze is okay, right? There might be a point if we get more familiar with this deck where you don't need both Ashioks, but you probably do. Maybe you're able to hedge away from, like, one Inquisition? Possibly? I don't know. Super nuanced. A hard deck to sideboard against because it has such an unbeatable top end. More than anything else. I will definitely keep this hand. This hand does a lot of what we want to do. Turn 1 Reclaimer. Okay, all that means is we're not getting our Thoughtseize Veiled, right? Reclaimer is definitely a card that can put in a ton of work for them. 2 Dryads and a Reclaimer. Well, I guess we take a Dryad. It's going to make the Goyf huge. I already have a Valakut in hand. It's probably more of a problem down the line, also just harder to deal with down the line. Either way, no matter which one we took there, the draw of a Maelstrom Pulse would have been very good. Interestingly, opponent does not play their second Reclaimer, nor do they attack with this one. I can't really understand why they wouldn't, but let's play a 4/5 Goyf. We've drawn Liliana, seems really good too, right? Oh, yeah, okay. I take it all back. I take it all back. They can activate Reclaimer off only 2. I was thinking it needed 3. Completely incorrect there. Alright, so now they're ramping by way of flagstones. And we've drawn Thoughtseize. So we know there's another Reclaimer and a Dryad in the hand. There are 2 unknowns. I like Thoughtseize, but at the same time, it really just kind of makes our turn wasteful, I think. I think we're just supposed to have a mana-efficient turn of Liliana Edict the Reclaimer. Don't veil me. Don't veil me, bro. Yeah, Flagstones is a low-key busted card, right? So next turn, you know, like, let's assume we draw, like, a land we can throw away. We could go Thoughtseize Ashiok, take up, pitch a land, Bloodbraid Elf turn 5. Oh, Selesnya Sanctuary is in their deck. See, we didn't see any bounce lands out of OP. Elder Gargaroth. Oh, no. This card's silly. This is a silly card. Okay. Wow, I think we need to actually pitch Ashiok now. Take up Lily, pitch Ashiok. I mean, opponent's going to get value out of this that's really meaningful no matter what. That really sucks. But yeah, take up, pitch Ashiok, hold up Kolaghan's command seems good. After Thoughtseizing. Alright, we know there's at least a Dryad in there to get. Courser of Krufix or another Dryad. Well, they're both enchantments. They're both pretty annoying, honestly. I think we're supposed to take the Dryad. Guess they're just going to draw a card with this thing, attack Lily, draw a card probably, right? We've got a chump, but really we're going to try to use the Kolaghan's command to trade and buy back the Goyf. Play a land off the top. They're going to draw a Ghost Quarter. Okay. And they've got Purge. That really sucks. Okay, let's buy back the Goyf, kill the Gargaroth. And we draw another Lily, never punished. Never punished. I'm going to play her. I think keeping the board clear in this matchup's pretty sweet. I was going to be pretty happy to spin the wheel with Bloodbraid Elf, but I like this a lot too. Okay, and we knew they were going to draw that Ghost Quarter. We know they still have a Plains in hand. Alright, before we tick Lily up, let's just Bloodbraid in case we hit another one. Oops. Another Cascade into Fatal Push? Jeez. Yeah, I'm going to lose this Decay. Feels bad, but... Alright, we know they still have that Plains in hand, right? Tracker. Tracker coming at a rough time for us. It's a nice top deck. And right after we pitch our Decay. But at least we can Edict it. They're going to GQ themselves for a clue, yep. Alright, now we hope this huge Goyf with the Bloodbraid Elf assist is going to be enough. Obviously, their top decks are pretty terrifying. But they have a much bigger flood risk, I guess, than we do, right? Garen Brigg into... Eladamri's Call! Ah! Dang. Okay, they've got enough for Titan. That I can tell you. Alright, well, we did a lot. Doesn't look like it's going to be enough this time. But there's still game 3. We did a lot. I don't really know exactly where the turning point was. I think I can just concede to this with 2 lands in hand and the Titan on their field. Well, maybe we just play it out, right? Because at least our Goyf eats the Titan upon attack. Maybe we can, like, draw a Maelstrom Pulse, swing out, put them to 1. Or put them to 2. Wow, never mind. Arasta of the Endless Web going value mode on us. Interesting. I was going to say, if they had bricks, you know, maybe they attack with the Titan to get more Field of the Dead action, and then we draw a Pulse. We pulse the zombies, swing out, put them to 2, then they're in Lightning Bolt, K command range. Wow, opponent just turning them all sideways, eh? It does make sense, I guess. We get a little more info this way, including Arasta. And see what utility lands they have to offer. Alright, Bajuka Bog. I guess we're pretty well defeated. I guess we're pretty well defeated by this very silly deck, huh? Okay. Whoops. I thought I had clicked and we were lagging, but now we've clicked concede. Okay. So, I mean, Boil's a thing. Boil's a thing. It's so hard to compete on every axis that they're trying to compete on. What do they even do against combo decks, right? What do they even do against combo? They can go toe-to-toe with mid-range with some low-curve stuff that gets value early into some stuff like Tracker and Courser and Elder Gargaroth, and into the Primeval Titan, into the Valakut package. But what do they do against combo, am I right? Anyway, I guess we still probably do need 2 Ashiok. Titan's still the card we can't beat more than anything else. There's other reasons to do it too. I do like our configuration. Again, I'm just wondering if we can make room for some boiled cheese, or if we want to call into question, like, anything in particular. Again, could we edge away from a discard spell? Yeah, maybe. Maybe we can cut an Inquisition and play it Boil. I'll do it just for the free win potential. Seems not unreasonable. Alternatively, we could, like, put a Cling back in, which has applications and also just cantrips, but I think boiling is potentially really fun. Thoughtseize Goyf Lily. 3 lands and a bolt. Keep it. Probably going to play Goyf even if we draw a run next turn, so I'll just Thoughtseize off of the swamp. Springbloom Druid. Arasta of the Endless Web, Elvish Reclaimer. Blast Zone, Radiant Fountain are the utility lands. Probably just going to take away Arasta. Too much value for me to want to mess with, and it's also an enchantment creature, right? Yeah, so making the Goyf huge. You love to see that. I think we are just going to get Goyf down. Don't like letting Reclaimer untap, but hopefully not the end of the world. Radiant Fountain. Ugh, another land, another land. Feels bad, man. Alright, so if we bolt before damage, we hit for 5. Really wish we just had, like, another anything to do. Discard. Maybe not so much another 2-mana threat, because we don't want to walk too hard into Blast Zone. I think I'm cool attacking and seeing what they do. Like, give them the chance to assign a block and then tutor. Alright, no block. I guess we're just bolting here. Really want to get the Liliana down, but maybe working on the hand is not all that realistic anyway. Like, it's going to be a thing, but what I'm trying to say is maybe, like, edicting their play next turn, if it's something besides Spring Bloom Druid, is going to be pretty good, too. Yeah, Spring Bloom, Flagstones, Reclaimer, the stuff is all really nuts. And it's also part of why, like, Lily +1 getting lands out of their hand is not that appealing, just because they cheat on land drops so well with stuff like this, right? Deck is pretty crazy. I still don't understand why it plays Ether Vial, though, but maybe it's better in quicker matchups, right? Oh, deck. Oh, deck. Oh, deck. Only lands at the opportune time. So once again, I think +1ing is not that relevant. It's not that relevant, but we could also leave ourselves really cold to like any threat if we tick down now. Nevertheless, I think they've pulled so far ahead on lands that we like have to give them credit for nothing besides Blast Zone in hand of relevance. So as awful as it is, I'm going to edict the Spring Bloom Druid and put them on a 3-turn clock with this Goyf. Hope to rip. Okay, there's Blast Zone. Hope to fade something really high impact. Dryad. Yeah, that's an example of something I would hope to fade. It's not as bad as like Titan, obviously, or Tracker. Bloodbraid. Yes. Yes, Bloodbraid. Yes. Okay. So why don't we take up Pitching Swamp? Then why don't we fetch with Bloodstained Mire, a tapped land in case we cascade into Fatal Push, which we've been doing all day. We need something awesome here, Bloodbraid. Terminate. Yes, that's good. That's good. We're going to put the opponent to 1 if they don't have removal. Is this just a Blast Zone counter? Yep. Okay, opponent's at 1. Oh, this is exciting. Did we get there? The tank from OP. Yes, no, maybe so. Terminate, pretty brilliant cascade. But we set ourselves up for it, you know. I think fetching is something I probably have forgotten to do in the past, you know. Would have been bad to dud with a fatal push there when we had it within our power not to, but as it happens, we didn't strictly need to. The Terminate, gonna get the Dryad no matter what. Grew the Goyf nicely by +2/+2. Opponent hesitating here has got me sweating, but it could be that he's on stream talking over what went wrong. Yeah, there it is. Okay, guys, 3-0 with 3 really tight wins on old school Jund. Wow, what a thrill. And guys, the old school stuff is really carrying us here. This is so perfect. Long may it continue. Let's finish out strong. Let's see here. This hand is awkward in a couple ways, but I think ultimately it is fine. It's a fine keep. We just have to kind of... I'd rather be on the draw with this hand, right? We have to kind of probably shock in the tomb and hope the opponent takes an action of some kind on turn 1 to turn on our Cling to Dust. They might also think we're like a Jund or 4-color Shadow deck if our turn 1 is shock and Overgrown Tomb in the blind pass. And if we can cantrip before we go to our turn 2 with the Cling, I think we've got a really good chance of curving out. Okay, well, dang. Opponent just goes map. Mine into map. Okay, so no curving out for us, possibly, but we draw the 3rd land anyway. Sadly, it's a forest, so we still have to hope to draw black next turn. So with that in mind, I guess we play Goyf off of Mountain. Okay, so wouldn't you know it, we are against Tron, but I think the old school build is going to be better configured than maybe some newer school builds, frankly, that play cards like Klothys, Lyris, Seasoned Pyromancer. Those cards are all kind of bad against traditional Tron compared to, like, Bob, Terminate, Bloodbraid Elf, stuff like that, right? So, we'll just have to see what the opponent does here. Hopefully, they don't have a second Tron land lined up. And if they don't, then I'm feeling pretty okay. Like, as okay as you can feel, maybe, or close to it. On Jund G1 against Tron. Oh, but they do have it. Oh, it's Eldrazi Tron, Chalice of the Void. Oh, Chalice on 1. How little we care about you, I was about to say, but I guess that's not true, because we just drew a Thoughtseize, which is super annoying. But, we can Kolaghan's command one of them, and we definitely will. Strangely enough, I don't think it's clear that we should Kolaghan's command the map, because the Chalice is actually doing some work against us right now, but, I still think I am going to hit the map here. Either way, we have to do it now before they untap, and also because we need to grow our Tarmogoyf, right? So yeah, you discard, shatter your map, I guess. So opponent probably feeling punished for trying to play the Chalice and not just saying go. The other upside of this play is it can mana screw them long enough for us to get out of our own kind of weird mana situation. Like, nothing in our hand is castable. We need to draw a black land, and then we can cast Bloodbraid or Liliana. And otherwise we'll just be like firing a Thoughtseize into the Chalice to grow Tarmogoyf will be our play. OP with a Matter, a Shaper. Unironically, the best card in their deck against us. Then it is back to us, and we draw a Lily. Jeez Louise. Jeez Louise. Pretty unlucky here. Alright, Thoughtseize you. Get it countered. Attack with a 4/5. They might have blocked anyway. Now they probably definitely will. But, I mean, that's just our play either way. And now Goyf is a 5/6, so yes, they're locking out some plays. Yeah, oh, they reshaper into another reshaper. Again, like I said, unironically, their best card against us. Here's Thought Knot. Yep, so we just need to draw black land and we can start fighting through the stuff, but we've failed to do that for a while now. Thankfully, our hand is somewhat Thought Knot proof, just in that it has a lot of redundancy. The third Liliana, you gotta be kidding me. I can't lose to Eldrazi Tron like this. I'm definitely attacking here. They don't know that it's a safe double block for sure. And even if they think it is, we can still really justify that trade. But instead, they just get all the free value with the Reshaper that they could want. This one flips Walking Ballista. And once more, we are locked out by our own lack of a second black source. You know, Chalice... Oh god, the third Reshaper. Please. You know, at least they're not making more land drops of their own, right? If we can somehow fade that despite all these Reshapers, we could be in a pretty okay spot. Stomping Ground. We didn't do it. We didn't do it. We drew like the only other. Besides Raging Ravine, I think, the only other non-black land in the deck. Bra moment. Okay, OP's just going to try to race us. I guess that means they probably have a Reshaper in hand. They're going to try, or excuse me, a Smasher in hand. They're going to try to draw the fourth land for. Heads up play from OP to take away our Bloodbraid Elf. I think that was the more obvious play, but nevertheless it would have been reasonable to take a Lily, but taking Bloodbraid proving to be most valuable there. Because unlike Lily, we could have cast Bloodbraid last turn. What is this, Endbringer? Sure is. Well, I don't... Ooh, okay. Terminate. There's an actual live draw, so one play is to terminate Thought Knot. Then we're probably just losing to Endbringer. But we do get to draw off of it and try to grind our way through that. But I think it's probably better to just terminate the Endbringer, play defense with Goyf, try to draw more good spells like that. Terminate's a really good draw, but it's probably too little too late. Yeah, okay. Feels bad, man. Eldrazi Tron is kind of one of those like Shadow where I almost feel better on Rock than Jund, but maybe that's not correct. Maybe that's not a correct feeling. Karn the Great Creator. So I don't remember if I finished saying this, but it seems like we would have had a better chance of winning if I had hit the Chalice simply because I guess we Thoughtseize something impactful. And then also we're one card deeper off of Cling to Dust. But then they, like, make Tron. So maybe not. You know, if they had, like, turn 3 Endbringer or turn 3 Karn into whatever, that's probably pretty bad too. And our deck just will not give us a lifeline here. Big oof. Big oof. Note that opponent tutored Pithing Needle, but it is locked out by their own Chalice. I understand the impulse to get a 1-drop there when you only had 1 mana free, but... Okay, with opponent tanking, I'm going to turn off auto yields. I really just kind of want to go to the next game, but if we're playing it out, I will also... Might as well not F6. Yeah, so I don't know what the deal with Pithing Needle is there, but you got it. Now they get to tutor something big and scary. We know they have a Walking Ballista in hand. There's also 2 unknowns before the tutor resolves. They go get Batterskull. Okay. I mean, like a beatable enough card for us broadly. Here, like any threat is scary just because we're doing nothing. So, draw of K, our second K command has been a good draw for a while. It still would be. There's our Swamp. Well, I guess Swamp means we're not dead. Because now we can start casting Lilianas. And again, just coming a little too late. Okay, down goes Reshaper. Flipping Reality Smasher. Okay, we are dead. We are dead, but we'll make them risk the all-out attack. With us not holding up black, we're not representing anything they should care about. But I guess there is a world in which they get a little scared to slam and jam here, right? They just putting Ballista on 1 down to make sure we get finished off? Yep. That signals the attack to me. Unless they're just gonna, like, ping Liliana and then say go. That'd be really funny. At us, at us, at us. Wish I could say GG. It kind of wasn't. Yeah, drawing too many 1-drops, drawing the Stomping Ground when any other land besides Ravine lets us go to town. That was very winnable. Feels bad. You know, E-Tron is E-Tron. I never feel great about sideboarding. Like, no matter what BGX deck I'm on, like, we always have some things to do that are fine, but never feel great about it. So, Pillage is the only slam dunk. Plague Engineer is playable. A card like Huntmaster is always okay. I don't really like Ashiok against Eldrazi. Nothing else is looking very playable at all. I think we're definitely cutting Cling to Dust. Not only is it little more than a cantrip, it also shies us away from getting Chalice locked again. I think Tireless Tracker is a fine cut here. It's just really slow. Once again, shaving a Wrenn or 2 is pretty justifiable. Let's bring in the Plague Men. I like them well enough. We're at 61 with 2 Wrenns. Lightning Bolt and Inquisition are both trimmable as well. Do we want to, like... Do we want to play a cheeky EE? Probably not, but it's a good thought. Just like... Yeah, setting it on 1 on the play early could cramp their style a little bit, but probably just too bad. So we're selecting from between like these 3 cards for 2 slots. I think I'm just going to leave all my discard in, even on the play. Whatever. Well, I kind of want to play Huntmaster. Let's cut an Inquisition. We're on the play. We'll leave our... Oh, I'm sorry. This makes more sense. We need 2 cuts. All right, no Huntmaster. Submit deck. Broadly, I think it's a good heuristic to when it's about even or when you're in doubt, err on the side of the lower curve. We have to mulligan this hand, sadly. And I think in this matchup, though, it might kind of be the opposite, at least to some degree, just to play around Chalice, right? This hand's a keep. It's a keep, and I think I might actually bottom Wrenn and Six because there's no fetch land, and it's a low-impact card. The more obvious thing to do is bottom Bloodbraid Elf, but I'm just going to play on Dark Confidant. Hopefully with his help, hopefully he'll stick, but even if he doesn't, maybe we draw the lands naturally. Wrenn is uncastable anyway. You know, the only thing that punishes us for bottoming Wrenn and keeping Bloodbraid is if we draw a third land, and it's a fetch land, and we don't draw the fourth for a long time. So I'm going to bottom Wrenn. And then we're going to go Inquisition into Bob and hope that it's awesome. Bob has not let us down this league so far. And I do like him in this matchup, especially on the play, on curve. OP with a Relic and Mazemind Tome and a 2-lander. I mean, Relic is a big... they're both problems. Relic cantrips, and we hate it. Mazemind Tome, Scries, and we hate it. I don't know. Pretty 50-50-ish here. I think I might take the Tome just because we're clearly on an early Bob plan, right? And maybe they have to crack the Relic aggressively seeking interaction or land drops, and then by the time we're going to play Goyf, we've rebuilt the graveyards anyway. Okay, there's a Peatland, so we've hit a land drop. That's good. Still definitely playing Bob over Goyf in this spot. Whoops, I was muted. Sorry, I took a drink then forgot to unmute. I was saying it's scary that opponent drew Urza's Mine. Them drawing any lands with that 2-land keep sucks. But specifically a Tron land, obviously, not the greatest. So I kind of want to, like, they know about... No, they don't know about the Catacombs. They know about the push, right? So I'm going to play Peatland into Goyf because I want to save the Catacombs for a Revolted push if I need it, and or to rebuild the graveyard if we have that luxury. But I am still supposed to play Goyf here. We just gotta play threats. So OP knows about our push. We know their whole hand except one. Okay, there's the Seagate Wreckage. This is a Dismember, looks like. Yep, Dismembering Bob. Okay. Bob did his job. He drew us a card, got in for 2, traded with a Dismember when we have Tarmogoyf, who's on the field, who's usually a really high priority Dismember target. Plague Engineer. Okay, well, that's a magic card, but I like Bloodbraid Elf here a lot. We've only got a couple bad Cascades. Let's not hit one. Ah, we hit one. Ooh, why did I say it? We had to play Bloodbraid, though. The upsides are way too high. So we say no to Terminate to put it back in the deck, right? Or, yeah. Yep. Yeah, I'd rather have it in the deck than the graveyard, because it doesn't grow the Goyf And they're going to exile with Relic whenever they want to anyway, right? Unreal. Man, I think overall we've had some decent variants, but specifically the Bloodbraid cascading into dead removal has happened in inordinate amount of the time. We are still kind of putting the screws to the opponent in some ways. They've got all the grave hate they need. They're Scavenger Grounds. I guess they run out a Karn here as a sacrificial lamb unless they drew something else. Please no... Yeah, okay. I was going to say, please no Matter Shaper. The card's unbeatable. Alright, what will Karn get? Is this an Ensnaring Bridge game in their eyes? Or is there a world in which they tick up? Yeah, no, they go get something. Okay. Yeah, if Bloodbraid Elf had shown us a relevant permanent there, like anything, I would be feeling good. As is, I think it's anybody's game. Yeah, it is a bridge game, okay. Bridge is the get, and we find a land. Alright, so why don't we begin by cracking Peatland? Maybe begin by fetching to thin, then cracking Peatland. Okay, just another land off the top, despite our best efforts to thin, so it's going to be Plague Man named Eldrazi. It's kind of underwhelming, but at the same time, like, maybe they can't really empty their hand all that fast. And it's weirdly okay to have some smallish attackers in the face of that. I'm still going to attack this Karn off the field, I guess. It's just kind of too free not to, I think. And it's going to be a problem if it sticks around. And, like, for all they know, we've just got a Shatter effect rolled up in hand. I wish we did. Really wish we did. Okay, so Eldrazi Temple would let them play Endbringer. A land in general would let them, like, I don't know, Karn hold up Relic. They just main phase Relic. That's not entirely unexpected, but it's also a little counterproductive with the bridge, right? Because right now everything can still attack into it. We can put them to 3. They're dead to a lightning bolt if they don't have... Well, no, they're just dead to a lightning bolt because this would have to be Dismember. And that would get them dead too. Maelstrom Pulse. Yeah, I don't love it, but it should allow us to engineer lethal one way or another next turn. You know what I'd love is just attacking for lethal, but... I guess we're supposed to fetch to do an extra damage with Goyf here. Or a damage with Goyf here. Okay. Wish we did lethal there, but having not done lethal. Okay, a blast zone, sure. I sure hope we can manage it with this pulse, and even the push if we need it. We have to remember Scavenger Grounds is going to shrink the Goyf to nothing. Instant speed. Potentially. But we know at least 2 cards in their hands are big chunkers. Yeah, I mean, I respect Eldrazi Tron's power more than I could possibly say. Like, I do actively fear the deck on basically any deck I play, any mid-range deck. I'm like, oh no, Eldrazi Tron. On Prowess, I'm like, oh no, Eldrazi Tron. But it still, to me, just looks like a deck that shouldn't work. Even stuff like the Ensnaring Bridge Karn package. Oh no, it's their best card, it's Reshaper. Anyway, like, Ensnaring Bridge is a fine prison card unless your deck is filled with, like, 6, 7, and 8 drops, and you don't commit to making Tron all that well, right? Anyway, you've heard all this before. Chalice on 1. Okay, Chalice still in post side, great to know. And hey, they do empty their hand out pretty well, but we've got the Pulse, they're dead. It's going to be game 3. Alright, well, every single match so far has come down to game 3. There have been a lot of really tight games, and so far it's worked out for us. Let's hope, my friends, we can take E-Tron to the mat here. Consideration for putting this Inquisition back in on the draw. Maybe cutting a Lightning Bolt. Again, maintaining our slight hedge away from 1-drops in the face of a known Chalice. And both cards kind of missing their big stuff, but Inquisition maybe being more important than Bolt on the draw in some ways. I think that's a change I'm happy enough to make. Do we want to, trim a Wrenn on the draw and put, maybe 1 Wrenn is better than 2 here. I can buy that. We can put in, Huntmaster, Finks, Tracker. They're all roughly as good. There's also the EE idea, which I'm not probably going to do, but maybe if somebody has a good case to make for it, if they think it's better than the slow stuff, maybe that's good too. You know what? Tracker is our donor's favorite card. We haven't even drawn her yet. Let's put the Tracker back in, and maybe we'll disrupt them, and Tracker will just snowball the game. How cool would that be? This is a keep. Thoughtseize into triple Goyf. Opponent mulligans. Keep. Thoughtseize, triple Tarmogoyf. Well, there are some things that we really don't want to see with this hand, but there are a lot of hands that just cannot beat this. So, it's, as usual when you're looking at opening hands, it is pretty much anybody's game, but okay, Tower into Map on the play for OP after a Multi 6. Hey, there's our Tracker. We don't really want to see her right at this spot, but there she is. Okay, Thoughtseize. They have a 2-lander. Chalice? We're not going to take Chalice, but they're going to get Tron Line. So I guess we just kind of take Reality Smasher, right? And force them to find a way to beat triple Tarmogoyf without it. Gotta remember we can, like, draw a third land next turn, pillage the following turn. We do still have ways to do that. Draw the Scooze. Our hand is doing only one thing. It's all the threats. Tarmogoyf being by far the premier threat in question. So yeah, we really hope that all they can do is play, like, Tome and Chalice. Oh, you know what, though? They can now Chalice us on 2 with Tron. That actually really sucks. So, no matter what, we want to draw the third land. And maybe they choose to Chalice us on 3. That would be great. Chalice us on 3. This is, I mean, it's going to depend on what their 2 unknowns are as well. Yeah, there's nothing we could do differently, I don't think. Oh, there's Reality, or Matter Reshaper. Maze Mind Tome, and then Chalice on 1. Yeah, that's what we like to see. Chalice on 1. Reshaper's an annoyance as always, but there's our third land too. Alright, guys, we're doing some stuff. Let's begin with a Tarmogoyf attack here, see what Reshaper is going to grant them. Zhalfirin Void, a Scryland. There's no bad hits with Reshaper. That's definitely a very good card to have come off the top of your deck for free. They'll top. Scary. No idea, frankly, what's optimal here. Like, playing another Goyf and just saying, can you beat this, is kind of an obvious line, but on the other hand, maybe we want to do something more mana efficient, like play Scooze or a 3-drop. And the weakness of Goyf is to Blast Zone, which Scooze is also weak to, but it's also weak to Relic. Like, really weak to Relic. Then again, Chalice has Relic locked. So maybe we are supposed to just play Goyfs. Alright, I'm going to put my faith in Tarmogoyf here. Big time. With Chalice shutting off Relic, I believe that to be correct. We probably want to leave that fetch land uncracked even though Fatal Push is locked out. They're just going to draw a ton off of Maze Mind Tome. Yeah, maybe we should have taken Tome over Smasher, honestly, but Smasher would be racing us really well. And they have another one, so, okay. Okay, please punt playing something into Dismember. They don't. They do, kind of. Dismember doesn't kill Goyf. Did they dare attack after that misplay? Woo! Rewarded for playing Tarmogoyf. Rewarded as you can really get. Unfortunately, I think Tracker is no longer that irrelevant to this game, so I am just going to fetch to get a Stomping Ground tapped. Fatal Push. Not a good one. But we thank OP for growing our Goyfs to 5/6s. Feels pretty good. And we're just going to play another one. And we're just going to play another one. This is what our hand initially set out to do. We're not going to stop now. The Future Sight Goyfs that I've recently switched to, will they carry us over the line? Opponent's going to see another 2 cards minimum, thanks to Maze Mind Tome. Card is so insane in this deck. Blast Zone. No. But if they have nothing else, they're still dead. But if they have other things, then we are in big trouble. If they have a way to stay alive, we're in big trouble. But they don't... they have Reality Smasher. Okay, well, at least they're going to have to chump with their Smashers, right? Bloodbraid Elf. Could be good right now, it really isn't. This is a crazy third game against Tron. Look at this, forcing the Smashers into chump block mode. Why couldn't we draw lethal K command or something, right? Okay, so... I think Plague Engineer over Tracker is the play here, because if they, like, manage to blast zone our Goyfs and then play another big threat, we want them to be forced into the chump block. Also, if, God forbid, they have some kind of a board wipe, and don't even have to use Blast Zone, I guess Tracker is better to try to rebuild for the second wave of attacks with, so it's going to be the Plague Man. Finally, Plague Man also shuts off the 1/1 token from, what's it called? From their Warping Whale. Yep, Plague Engineer it is. Okay. Well, let's see what happens. Uh-oh. Tapping 7. All is dust. Oh, no. But they're totally empty-handed. Maze Mind Tome, sure. Untapped 4th land. Bloodbraid Elf time to finish him off. Let's go. No, it's Inquisition! Dang it. Dude, dang it. Alright, I'm gonna cast it. And I'm gonna play a Scooze. No, I'm not. Cancel. Chalice is still around. I cannot believe this. Okay, Tireless Tracker. It's your turn to win the game. Let's go, Tracker. Go, Tracker. Oh, I can't believe no 4th land. No GG yet. Maze Mind Tome is just doing it. The scries and then all the draws. And now they get to gain life with it, too. Stupid. They're not even, like... They don't even need to use it. They just keep drawing nuts off the top. Ugin the Ineffable. Dude, please. Come on. I can't believe it was an All is Dust. Oh, man. We still have every chance of finding a way over the line, but it's getting worse and worse. Opponent chooses to take Ugin down. And play a Batter Skull? Why are their draws so good? Why are their draws so good? Terminate. Man, this sucks. Eldrazi Tron, why? Alright. New line is just going to be, I guess, lean into Scooze as much as we can. Play for the longer game. I mean, stuck on not hitting the 4th land for a million years is pretty rough, too, when the 4th land would have been lethal. Like, at any point up until this turn. Okay. You know what? We should have left red-green open. No, we can't bluff Lightning Bolt in the face of Chalice anyway. Just gonna say to bluff Bolt in response to the life gain, but we don't have it. The good news is there's a lot of food for the ooze. So, you know, if we keep having these underwhelming turns, we can get ooze big enough to rumble. But Eldrazi Tron, easily the dumbest deck. Easily the dumbest deck. What do they rip now? Thought-Knot? Karn. That's actually much scarier than a Thought-Knot right here. I think they got a Batter Skull from the sideboard in one of the games. Right? So did they have one main, one side, or did they side it in, or am I maybe just misremembering? I'm not certain. Go get a relic and try to cast it into your chalice. That's what we need to see right now. Oh, that Scooze looks like it could get big. Why don't I go get relic? That's what we're hoping for. Walking Ballista. Okay. Everything sucks. Once again, pretty crippled by the lack of a fourth land, you know, just because Scooze, for example, is nowhere near surviving this, but with more lands at our disposal, maybe it would be. Still gonna eat something here. Maybe they ping it before we untap. Yep. Okay. I don't think we have real outs anymore. Maybe land into Bloodbraid into nut draws, but not another Scooze. This is killing me, guys. This is absolutely killing me to lose this way to this deck. We had him at 1. We even were able to beat, like, them wiping all our Goyfs. We just couldn't beat all his dust. And all the other stuff I've complained about. Witchbane Orb. You have Hexproof, sure. No other threats to get, I guess. I think at this point you clearly just, like, go for it, gumming up the board and all that. We are dead if we don't block something. It doesn't matter. It really is like the definition of a decision that doesn't matter. I'm just gonna scoop. Oh boy. Well, the league has still been a great success even if we drop the final round because we have cashed it already and we've seen the old school cards really, really thrive. However, if there is a more disappointing way to go from a very close 4-0 to 3-1, I don't know what it is. Like, against Eldrazi Tron, which is probably the #1 nemesis of this channel over, like, the whole of its existence, and losing in that manner. Oh, man. Oh, man. Well, that's okay. We are still having a lot of fun, a lot of success, as I say. And it's time to try to play for a 4-1 here in round 5. Yeah. If they don't play small creatures, we are not all that well configured, but if they do, we've got a really good 1-2-3 curve. I feel obligated to run out Blackcleave Cliffs there because if we run out Catacombs and we do want to push something turn 1, then we're ending up with all 4 of our lands as black lands. Okay, we're in some kind of a mirror. Blooming Marsh, maybe we're against good old Rock. Our hand's a little medium against Rock. Yeah, they take the K command as expected. was going to say once they take the K command, but our top decks are great, right? Scooze is actually pretty bad here just because we only have one green land. If all of our lands were green, it'd be really sweet. Nevertheless, I think, so in that sense, what I was getting at is that it might be better to run that out as maybe a sacrificial lamb trading with removal instead of Goyf. But I'm still going to run out the Goyf because it's what they know about. And we're not against rock at all. Spire of Industry. What? Green-black Hardened Scales, maybe? I haven't played against Scales in Oh, it's Lantern. Whoa! I haven't played against Lantern in much longer. Look at that cool forest. I like that. Alright, Lantern it is. Well, I'm glad I played the Goyf, because the Goyf gets them dead pretty quick. Obviously, they play answers to it. I have no idea what, a current Lantern deck looks like. I know the notion of the deck, and I know what it used to look like, but I'm afraid there's not much else that I know about. They're going to upkeep Surgical our Kolaghan's command. No, that's a bad play, my friend. If you're going to do that, which is sketchy, you got to draw step it. Because we won't have the mana to cast it on the draw step anyway. But that's fantastic for us. Obviously, the opponent just goes down a card. Gets our other K command out of the deck, which admittedly is one of the best cards against them, but whatever, Oh, you know what? Maybe I should give the opponent more credit than that. They also maybe wanted to shuffle our Thoughtseize away. So maybe I amend my statement a bit there. In any case, we've got Bloodbraid Elf coming down next turn, which seems really good. So, though, if the opponent's just on Ensnaring Bridge, like Natty, they just have it, I don't know if we can beat it. Shy of, finding a Liliana and alting her. And even then, maybe they just, keep the bridge. So, I want to give opponent full credit for why that Surgical is potentially a good play. If they're on bridge, it's a good play in two different ways. It takes away our main deck answers to it, and it takes away our Thoughtseize, which could take it away. Now, we do have one Abrupt Decay, one Maelstrom Pulse. Yeah, sure enough, bridge. Okay. And there's Liliana. Alright, I think we are supposed to play Bloodbraid here. Even if we hit an instant or sorcery off of it, Goyf will still attack. Just the same. Okay, we're going to cast her, but we are not going to activate her until after attacks. Once again, with Goyf in mind. I mean, they're going to be able to dump out their hand anyway, so we just take up Pitching Fatal Push here. Next turn, we take up Pitching our spare Liliana, we play the Bob, we start digging for Decay or Pulse, and also working toward Lily Ult, and that's going to be our path to victory here. Grafdigger's Cage is out of their hand. Inventor's Fair came off the top, but they've got another one. So those cards could be a problem. They can tutor soon. Maybe just for a backup bridge or whatever. I don't know what necessarily they'd get. We also can draw enough burn to theoretically finish them off, although with K commands out of the deck, that's kind of unlikely. We're only on 3 bolts. Oh, whoa. EE on 2? And they know about our Bob as well. That's quite the annoyance. I guess we just have to keep working with Lily here and hold our Bob. Brutality was in their hand, sure. They're gaining life with Inventor's Fair, too. Yeah, the find of EE was good in a few different ways, and Also, burn plan was a narrow window, much less narrow. I was just starting to say Academy Ruins is a card that we need to kind of just think about playing around with Scavenging Ooze. And sure enough, that pops up. Granted, we don't care about the Grafdigger's Cage so much, but maybe there's a world in which they kill our Ooze with EE and then later leverage the Academy Ruins, but they're shuffling it away. Welding Jar. Dang. Okay. I guess we're just eating artifacts now, right? Like, again, we probably don't care about the cage, but no real reason not to. So they didn't go get, like, a Pithing Needle or something for the Lily, but maybe they couldn't protect it from the Lily +1? Anyway, let's pitch this dead Blackcleave Cliffs and say go. They're going to shuffle their Blooming Marsh away. Sure. I guess we don't need to main phase eat the Lantern. But if they crack their EE, we probably will. All right, time to ult. So Welding Jar, as far as I know, doesn't do anything against Liliana's Sacrifice. Liliana's ult, which is a Sacrifice rather than Destroy. So opponent with some decisions to make here. Do they just let it resolve and give themselves the chance of keeping the most permanence? Or, yeah, they crack EE now. Okay, well, I'm going to eat it now. Right, or are we supposed to dump out both Goyf and Bob? Well, let's think about this. So, we're going to lose both of our 2-drops, and then let's say they do nothing and let our ult resolve from here. Are we just separating Ensnaring Bridge from everything else? I think the answer is probably yes. And if so, I don't think we need to play Tarmogoyf down urgently. So yeah, let's eat that EE with Ooze, I guess. Do we give them... Do we put one land over here? Because the risk, of course, is that they just have another bridge in hand by leaving them with Welding Jar and 3 lands. I'm really tempted to do this, but it might be better to give them exactly 1 land. That way they have to find a second bridge and a 3rd land to stop us. Maybe I shouldn't have bothered eating with the Ooze, because we could just put lethal down if I hadn't. Anyway, that ship has sailed. This is the big decision, though. I think I'm going to give them a land with the bridge. But... am I? No, I'm not. Bridge on its own. Final decision. Close call. Interesting call. This has been such an interesting league. They keep the bridge on its own, so I guess we're rewarded for taking the slightly bolder decision to leave them with no lands whatsoever. And now we get to play Bobby and wait until their hand hopefully fills up with uncastables, but they instantly rip a land. That sucks. But let's find some of our really good stuff. Another Bob is actually okay here. We'll just dump the whole hand, and now we're seeing 3 cards per turn, digging like madmen toward the Decay or the Pulse. And if they miss a land drop, we're attacking with 2 2/1s. They don't miss a land drop. Come on, come on. Oh, man. Man, if we lose this one, I don't even know what to say. 3 straight bricks off the top. Wow. Okay. Not even going to bother playing the other Goyf out. I am going to play the fetch land, though, because that actually allows us to compete over one of our draws. Let's turn off auto yields to make sure that Bob is not... Jeez, could their draws be any better? All right. To make sure we're not yielding to Bob. Okay. So I guess right away we just shuffle away this land. I think that's acceptable. Into another land. At least it's painless. Into a Wrenn and Six. Bad. Into another Wrenn and Six. Ah, we're gonna lose. We're gonna lose this one. No, we're not. We're going to ping, and next turn our 3 draws are going to yield a damn bridge. Or, excuse me, a damn out to the bridge, right? Liliana, oh my god, the Bobs are going to kill us. Tireless Tracker. What's going on, guys? This is so dumb. We're now at the point where we have to consider pinging a Bob really seriously. Well, Tracker is like the new Bob in terms of seeing more cards. I'm going to main phase shuffle, see if we want to try to crack a clue. Main phase? Blood Crypt. Not so much. All right, I am going to ping one of my own Dark Confidants with Wrenn and Six, and then say go, holding up 2 clues. Probably just cracking them both to try to churn through the deck as much as possible. If we had different spells in hand, maybe we could, like, try to play around their Lantern a little more or whatever, but... we also play around their Brutality this way, growing the Tracker. Oh, they're maybe... if they drain us... they're just gonna drain us? Okay, now we have to terminate our own Bob before we untap. So let's just do that right now. It shouldn't really be possible for the opponent's draws to be this good after that ult and for ours to be this bad, but that's where we're at. And hey, you know, we, strangely enough, still have like a really good chance of winning. Because we're seeing so many cards off of the tracker. And we do have outs to this bridge. Okay, let's begin with a clue. Wow. From bad to worse are our draws. Off the top, let's buy back Blackcleave Cliffs. I guess that's the land to play. I guess we'll just start working on another Liliana here. Thoughtseize is a pretty free pick. Well, this is definitely a Lantern game, that I can tell you. I should probably be talking a little less, playing a little more. We don't care about their Inquisition. We might care about that trophy. They take our Lily. We'll crack a clue just to dig. Inquisition, Tarmogoyf, land. Bra moment. After bra moment. Okay. Well... I'm going to pick Goyf here, and I think now we're supposed to pick lands back up with Wrenn. Just to have a critical mass of them maybe be threatening the ult in some capacity. I don't know. But of course, Lily's going to get trophied here. Or, I mean, in some ways it'd be like an interesting play to trophy the tracker, right? But where is our Abrupt Decay or our Maelstrom Pulse? Where, oh, where can it be? There's a lightning bolt. And there's a land. Okay, let's get that trophy out of their hands, see who they're going to hit with it. Indeed, it's the Liliana. We don't have any more basics to get. I'll pick Inquisition. I'll play a land we can't crack. I'm going to start pinging. I don't know what's correct. Ooh, Ancient Stirring's coming off the top for OP. Okay, are they going to let us draw that Cling to Dust? They are. All right, let's exile their Welding Jar to draw. And there's Peatland, so we've got the Wrenn Peatland loop coming our way. We can also cling pretty well here. So why don't we try to draw Peatland? Yeah, I've got to worry about my clock. We just have so many decisions to make. Pixis of Pandemonium. I think we're just supposed to cling now to get some velocity. But the opponent's pretty close to having us locked. I'm not really going to think about this escape at all. Okay, with Cascade on the stack, let's cling them. So they're going to mill our Ravine. There's our Decay. Dang. Dang, they're going to get to exile it. Ooh, and if only we could crack these. Ah, our bobs were so bad. Yep, well, there goes our Decay. So we have to hope to cascade into Pulse now. We deserve it. No, a Thoughtseize. Jeez. Jeez, dude. Very possible that I should be scooping, right? But at this point, we've come this far, let's play it out as my mentality. We're gonna mill our bolts, which you understand. Okay, Lantern, yeah. Only lands off the top. Only lands for us. My goodness. Alright, it's time to just try to win with Wrenn Pings. But we need to draw our third Lightning Bolt to do that. So I guess we should only really compete... Whatever, doesn't matter. With Cling over, like... over the Bolt. And now we really can't, but I'm just kind of like making plays now because the clock... So, yeah. They have to like decide whether they want to start blind milling now, I guess. Like they mill away the Bloodstained Mire, they get a look at the top. And then they decide whether or not to mill that. Okay, Bloodbraid Elf. Doesn't really matter, so maybe they just... Okay. They shuffle. Now what? Pulse the bridges. Did we get there? Oh, we got there. We're so far behind on the clock that we pretty much have to win game 2 or concede game 2 really quickly. That was crazy. Guys, is this not one of the craziest leagues you've ever seen? It feels that way to me in the driver's seat. You really just, like, if you're not playing BGX, you're not playing the most intense Magic that Modern has to offer. That I can tell you. So, what the heck do we do against Lantern? EE seems great. I mean, Spellbomb's not unreasonable because they play graveyard effects, and it's something that can be an instant speed draw, like with Cling, to try to compete over some of their stuff. Ashiok seems okay in the same way that Spellbomb is okay. I don't know if I'm going to play either of those. Pillage is a slam dunk. Brutality is actually pretty decent just because, you know, if they're on Leyline of Sanctity, which maybe is outdated tech, again, I have no idea what the current lists look like, then it feels extra bad. But, you know, you saw them play, like, a lot of stuff like Trophy and Inquisition that you can take. So I guess we could consider maybe it's roughly as good as those. Maybe a Cling is playable too, the second one out of the side. But those three for sure. Fatal Pushes are gone for sure. I guess I'm supposed to Cling around. I literally haven't played against this deck since before Modern Horizons. I've never played against it with Wrenn and Six. I've never even played against it with Jund, I don't think. Back when I used to run into this, I was playing only Rock. Terminate can go. I think I like everything else that's in here, but maybe we're supposed to cut Lightning Bolts and plan to play more of a controlling game. I think that's at least reasonable. But the burn win con, as you saw, was kind of live there. But if we cut the bolts, we then have 4 more slots to play with, and we get to leave in our main deck Cling, and I think everything else is looking good. I don't know. I mean, we could even trim a Scooze, too. I think Scooze is medium. So Ashiok is going to shut off their tutors. Ashiok can, like, erase them if their win condition is to mill us. I think I'm going to try both Ashioks and see how it goes. Cling to Dust seems good. And then, yeah, like 2 of these 4 cards. I think this is going to be my configuration. Let's not play the Brutality. I guess we'll just play the Ooze and 1 Spellbomb. I think this is pretty good. And you could argue maybe if bolts are supposed to be in that we could do without most of those cards we threw in at the end. So, either way. The hand has no threat, but Thoughtseize into Lily into Bloodbraid is gotta be good enough for me to keep. OP Moles, love to see that. Lantern of Insight, and we're about to draw that Maelstrom Pulse. Yeah, baby. Good card to have in hand, to say the least. Talk about old school cards being effective, this league. Pulse having its time in the sun. They have Inquisition and Snaring Bridge. I'm just gonna... Well... kind of want to take the Inquisition. They have Academy Ruins anyway for the bridge. Yeah, I think taking Inquisition, ensuring we get to go on the Liliana plan is good. Their Inquisition can beat our Pulse anyway, if that's their play, you know? Okay, we're going to draw a land for turn, so let's shuffle it away. They're drawing Spellskite. Again, I probably have to play just quicker than I want to. So no narration for you. Sorry. Blood Crypt tapped. I say as I narrate. I'm just going to Edict the Spellskite here. Then opponent, unfortunately, is going to get to have a really good turn of dump out their whole hand, including Thoughtseize. Ooh, Kaya or Azov Usurper. But I don't think there is much we could do about that. We just have to hope Bloodbraid Elf is good here. There's a Pillage coming off the top. That seems good. I guess let's do it right now. Sure, I mean, I realize they get to buy it back with ruins, but our hand isn't looking likely to disrupt that anyway. Okay, and it also prompts the shuffle. Inquisition. Dang, that sucks. Okay. I think that's a win in and of itself, like hitting the lantern. I'm going to cast Inquisition just to get it out of the deck more than anything else. Lantern's only it's an asymmetrical shuffle, right? Got the pillage anyway. Love to see that. Just gonna get Kai off the field here. Get their Glimmer Void that way too. Sweet. Oh, that was so good. That was so good. Alright, just gonna dump them all out, then tick up. Opponent says, GG's, how many pillage are you running? I think it's 3. Okay, GG's. Pixis of Pandemonium, GG's, well played. Okay, very polite opponent. We give them a little tech. I don't even know if it's correct tech. I couldn't remember in that moment with my mind overloaded whether we were on 3 or 2 pillage, but, you know, 2 to 3 is what you should expect out of Jund these days. Guys, we were literally 1 life point away from the 5-0 with old school Jund. I don't really know how to feel about that. The league was amazing. I feel awesome about that. I feel awesome about our performance. If I had a nickel for every 5-0 Eldrazi Tron has denied me, I bet I've had more 4-1s with the 1 loss coming to Eldrazi Tron than I've had all other 4-1 permutations combined, and I'm not kidding. That deck is the bane of my potential 5-0 count, which, as you can see, is 0. It is 0 for the current season, but hey, I only play like 2 leagues a week, so I'm happy if I can just provide good content for you guys, and I'm not worried about being a trophy leader, because until I hit the lottery and play all day, that's never going to happen. But the point here is that old school Jund was completely amazing. We saw Bob, Bob has been better than he was there in round 5, game 1 against Lantern, that is for sure. But even so, we still got the win, and maybe Bob digging us through the deck as much as he did, and then we had to take them out with Terminate and Renping to ensure that he didn't take us out. Maybe that's enough. Maybe that was enough to have contributed massively to the win anyway. Hard to say, but we had Bloodbraid Elf bailing us out there in that matchup by finally, at long last, hitting our pulse in game 1, and then, of course, in game 2, just bloodbraiding into the pillage after they had to sack their lantern to take it away. So, my friends, there you go. I hope everybody enjoyed this one. This was a treat. This was old school Jund. Sadly, Tireless Tracker, we never really got her off the ground too much until the final round, where admittedly, her card draw against Lantern was also crucial. So hey, we even had a moment in the sun for the Tracker. It had to come late in the league, but we'll take it. But Dark Confidant and Scavenging Ooze and Tracker, all the old school stuff, Terminate, Kolaghan's Command, Bloodbraid, all working really, really well. And yeah, just as close as you can possibly get to the 5-0 without actually getting there. So, hey guys, I'm happy. I hope you're happy too, the viewer, and I hope you, especially Frank Armaton, donor of this league, hope you're happier than just about anyone else, because man, your old school Jund really kicked it. Really kicked it old school, if you will. Sorry, I don't have anything witty to say. I'm very tired at the end of this league, as I hope you can understand, so why don't we call it there. Thank you, Frank, once again, for your generous support. Glad to have you back to health, back to your old ways, back among us on the Discord, and contributing an awesome list for the broad viewership here. Yeah, this just goes to show you more than anything else. If a card once Junded, it can Jund again. Never say, well, you know, time has just passed Dark Confidant by, or time has just passed Scooze or Tracker or something else by. If a card once Junded, it can Jund again unless they print a strictly better version of it. And hey, even then maybe you want to play copies 5 through 8, right? So don't neglect tradition. Do not forget the old school stalwarts that have helped us Jund them out so often in the past. They still have all kinds of game, and I think we proved that here today. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought about everything, what you think about the list especially, and I'll see you for the next video. If you did enjoy this content, patreon.com/GrimFlayerMTG is in the description below. That is the way to support me financially, and believe me, it makes a big, big difference in my life. I really appreciate everybody doing it, and I try to give you as many incentives as possible to do so. You can earn donation leagues like this one. You have access to my Discord. You get to read my monthly scouting reports. You get little perks within the Discord, and also it's just cool to support the content that you love. It makes you feel good. It is a mutually beneficial exchange if you have the resources to do so. If money's too tight for you, don't worry about it. Just give a thumbs up. You know, you can share these videos if you'd like. That helps the channel grow as well. You can leave a comment as well, and you can subscribe to the channel. Maybe one day we'll hit 10,000 subs and start selling some Grimflayer merch. What about that? Until that day, my friends, just anything and everything you can do from the above. I dearly appreciate everybody doing that. And I hope to see you for the next video. Good luck in your games out there. Everyone have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you soon.